One handy way to graph a parabola is directly from a certain type of form called vertex form. Whenever you have your equation written such that you have your parentheses with x and some number inside, and you square that, and then you either add or subtract something at the end of it, you're probably looking at vertex form. And sometimes there's even a number out front to modify things. The nice thing about vertex form is it actually gives you a pretty good sense of exactly what you're looking at for a function, such that you can graph it without needing to make a table or look up things like the roots or the vertex. So let's try this example. In this problem right here, we're going to start with the standard y equals x squared graph. And then we're going to slide it left and right, slide it up and down. And that's what I mean by translate. So the basic y equals x squared graph says, when I plug in 0, I get 0 squared for my y. When I plug in x equals 1, I get 1 squared for my y. When I plug in x equals 2, I get 2 squared, which is 4, and so forth. So I get 1, 4, 9, 16, and then the same thing the other way. Negative 1 squared is 1. Negative 2 squared is 4. And so you could keep going in either direction, but you're going to get this basic parabola shape that forms. And once you have that basic shape, that's what you can go ahead and move around. So I'm going to just kind of clean that up a little bit. And now we can take this basic shape and move it around our graph wherever it needs to be. Our vertex we find by looking at the numbers right inside of here and outside here. The number next to x, the one in the parentheses, is the one that determines the x direction. But note that whenever it's in those parentheses, it actually always goes the opposite way that you would expect. So you see a -1 here next to x, and I would naturally want to say we should go left 1 unit. But that's not how it works. You actually go the opposite way inside the parentheses, so it's going to be +1. We're going to move our vertex over 1 to the right. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the y. The y is outside, and that one is exactly as we see it. So if we're a -4 outside, then we are going to go down 4 units with our parabola. So that would be how you would take something in that basic form and immediately be able to graph it. And if we compare this to some of our earlier graphs that we made, this should be a very good comparison. So in the same way we sketched this before here, this graph, because this equation, even though it doesn't look the same as the one we had before, is mathematically the same, our graph should be mathematically the same as well.